Hey, Brian.
Hi, Jennifer. Great to meet you.
Yes, nice meeting you as well. And I'm so glad you were able to do this today with me. So thank you.
Thank you for
Yes.
having me.
And I was laughing because a few weeks ago when I had met with Q, he name dropped you several times through our conversation and said that you were his inspiration when he met you, I guess 3 or 4 years ago. So that prompted me to reach out and meet you and invite you to be on this. And hopefully Q will be popping in just a few minutes.
I hope so. He's a special young man. He's amazing.
He is amazing, but he gives a lot of his accolades to you. So,
Well,
what
thank you.
what do you do for Q? Can you do it for us? Tell us.
So I went to my first Remax retreat in Orlando a few years ago before COVID, and I was tired of walking around meeting people. So I just sat down at a table, and Q was at the table, and I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Quintavious." I said, "Where are you from?" And he told me. I said, "What was your volume last year?" He said, "I just missed Titan by this much." And I said, "What's your goal this year?" And I couldn't believe it. He's like 26 years old and he just missed making 750,000. And I said, "What's your goal this year?" And he said, "To make Titan." I said, "Titan?" I said, "Why can't we do diamond?" And he said, "You really think I can do diamond?" I said, "Sure, go for diamond." So I believe he calls me in like July, or it might have been June. He said, "Brian, I made diamond." I said, "No, I'm totally closed or on the board?" He said, "No, closed."
Wow.
And he said, "I'm going for pinnacle." And I said, "Well, let's do it." So he called me, and we talk once a week probably. And he called me and he said, "I surpassed pinnacle. I'm at 2 point whatever." And I said, "Q, unbelievable." I
That's
said, "You're amazing. You're probably the biggest success story I ever saw below the age of 30."
yeah.
So he inspired me.
Wow. And I think he's ranked number three nationwide as individual agents within Remax.
Yeah, and if I've spent time at his home and his office, I mean his average sale isn't like 5 million. So
No.
he,
Mhm.
he's probably doing 300 transactions a year, and I'm like, as an individual, and it's amazing. Here he is.
Yeah, he's very pop on. I think his average. I think you told me his average sale was like 250 or 300.
IQ,
What's going
We're
on?
just ramping you up, Q.
what a surprise!
You spilled the beans, Jennifer. You supposed to make them wonder.
Okay, to be clear, he did text me last night. He was like, "Is it Q? Is Q going to be on?" And then
I
I know.
told him no.
I was just singing your praises, Q.
Really?
How we met.
There we go.
How you met in Florida and how you're just a go-getter and an amazing real estate agent and so young. But we were talking about your average price point. What's your average price point in your personal sales, Q?
Yeah, it's probably now around 300. It used to be like 250. So around
So
300 now.
so to make 2 million in cash, that's what 300 plus closings in a year
Yes, it was.
as an individual agent. That's pretty kick ass. So
Yep.
congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
He did buy me lunch when I went to see him too,
That's all we got. Excuse
and
me.
I saw his high school.
So I
Aw.
brought Brian Bowles down. He had the VIP experience. We went to the Ole Miss game, sat in the box, fed him good, got his hotel. We had a wonderful time. He got to meet Lane Kiffin on a back
Wow.
alley. So anytime you folks come to Mississippi or Tennessee, I will take care of you. Just call me. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm gonna call you. I've actually never been to Tennessee. Maybe I haven't in a long time, but I'm gonna make the trip.
Visit. You have
Yeah,
to visit Graceland at least. You know, Graceland is
yeah.
an awesome place to visit in town. Also, BB King's, as we all know, we're no longer calling Brian Bowles Brian Bowles. His new name is BB the King. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Why
That's
couldn't you give me that name 20 years ago?
I don't know, but you every time you post from now on, it needs to be come by from BB the King.
I,
right.
I like it. I might come to your market now.
Good luck. You come here, I'm telling you, you get crushed.
All right.
So, Brian, what do you do to be so successful? What are like one or two things that you've done in this changing market to keep being magnificent as you are?
I think like everyone else and Q included, I mean, we have to stay in front of people. And every morning I make calls from like 8:30 to 11, constantly prospecting, even though I've been doing this 35 years and most of my business is referrals. It's still good to reach out to people that you just met or showed a home to. Constantly, we call it dripping on the people,
Mhm.
constantly dripping or staying in front of them. You want them to think of you when they're gonna buy a home or maybe they have to sell a home.
That's right.
So staying in front of them.
So, how many calls a day from 8:30 to 11? How many are you able to make within that time frame, roughly?
Well, I'm not as good as Q, but I at least make 50.
That's
I
good.
try to get 50 call, at least 50 new contacts a day.
That's
And
awesome.
a lot of times I might text another 50 people. It
Hmm.
seems like it's easier to text with people than when I started years ago and you'd speak to them directly on the phone.
I would agree with you. And Q, what is your like one or two things that you've done that you add to your success?
Yeah, I would say the same. The calling every day. I have a schedule on my wall that tells me every single day the three things that I need to focus on. Like today being Monday, if I look up, the first thing that I need to focus on is making about 200 contacts today.
Wow.
And with that, it tells me after a certain time. So on my schedule today, it says after 5 p.m. my time, which is about an hour, leave the office, go and pass out 50 business cards. So I'll go to places like Lowe's. I'll go to a nice restaurant. I normally get a table by myself. I go around and hit the tables very quickly and smooth. But I think just the calling is what really separates me and help my business grow. The consistency of me showing up every day making those calls. But I will say, Brian's calls, for him to make 50 in 3 hours, he needs to get with me. Because I'm going to make at least 200 in those 3 hours.
All
He
right.
needs
So,
All
what
right.
do you do to get 200? How do you get 200 in 3 hours, Q? What's
Yeah,
your system?
so it's easy. You can go to RedX, and RedX has a thing they call Storm Dialer, where you don't have to hold the phone to your ear anymore. It calls from your phone. You can lay the phone down, put it on speaker, and you can call three people at one time. If
Okay.
one person answers the phone, perfect. You're live with them. If two people answer at the same exact time, you can pre-record a recording that'll say, "Hey, I'm on another call right now. I give you a call back." Or like I do is I say, "Hey, hello, hey, hello, hey, I'm in the country. I'll call you back when I get back to the city." And I hang up, and it hangs up. So they think they're actually talking to me, but I'm actually talking to somebody else. And then 4 or 5 minutes later, I'll call that person back, like, "Hey, I was driving through a bad side of town. I got you at a bad time. Hey, how's you doing?" So that allows me now calling three people versus one at the same exact time. I can storm through so many calls within a short period of time. And I've never called for 3 hours. I probably call max an hour and 45 minutes. Those are my working windows. An hour and 45 minutes. I cannot go longer than an hour and 45 minutes at a time.
And Q, what's it called again?
You can use RedX, and the dollar on there is Storm Dollar. So I pay $195 a month for the service plus the dollar to have. And that's all I've ever used since I've gotten started in the business. Was
So,
the
let me ask you. I use Mojo Dialer that does the same thing. It allows you to call three people at the same time. But my question but there's a little bit of a delay, especially with the three people. It comes out to be 2 or 3 seconds delay in speaking, which then you have a silence, and then I go to talk and I realize I'm over talking. Do you find that in Redx?
No, it's literally live back and forth. And it's been times where, like, say, for instance, if I'm calling three people and one person answers, they say hello, I say hello, they hear my voice right away. But the second person that answers, immediately, if they don't say hello, or if they do, like my recording, I kind of like pause for like 1 second, anyways, and then start talking just in case they said hello.
Mhm.
And then my voicemail, it automatically drops a voicemail if they don't answer. So I don't have to spend that time doing it. And I make sure I keep the voicemail very short and simple. Hey, it's Quintavious over at Remax. Just giving you a quick call about a house you own in Senatobia. Give me a call back when you can. I never, ever use the address because that person might have moved from that particular address, but they maybe stayed in the town. So I want to just use the town as my reference point to get them to call me back about whatever property is that they own.
I love it. I love it. And Brian, are you squinting to see us?
Yeah, a little bit.
Jennifer, when you turn 109 years old, your vision goes away.
Yeah. I can't tell. I'm looking up at the box, and it's hard to tell, but I can see you guys fine.
You can tell us apart, right? I'm the black guy.
Yeah, I know you're the D1 athlete.
And Brian, you were an athlete too, you said, right? Baseball?
Yes, I was scouted in professional baseball, and then my oldest brother, John, managed the Florida Marlins down here in Florida, and my nephew, AAA manager for the New York Mets.
Wow.
So a little baseball background.
No, that's awesome. Do you think that dedication to your sports helps you in real estate?
I do. I would hire athletes in a minute because we're used to being knocked down and get back up. And in baseball, you're a star if you get 3 hits out of 10. In real estate, we're probably a star if we hit 1 out of 100 on our calls. And so we're used to just keep, getting knocked down and getting back up, and staying consistent in your habits too, I think is key. I've watched Q. I mean, he's disciplined in his eating, his workouts, his phone calls. I bet he does the same routine almost every day.
Yes.
Well, it makes you professional, right? It makes you better at it.
Yes.
Correct. Because, what folks have to start understanding is muscle memory is a advantage. Once you can master your muscle memory in anything, sports and business and calling your day, however you do it, if you can master that muscle memory piece of everything, it becomes so much easier to you as a person. So for me, I literally, when he say I do the same thing over and over and over again, I even eat the same thing. On Mondays, I have this one place. My wife orders me food on a Monday. It's going to last me Monday, Tuesday, and I eat it again for lunch on Wednesday. And then we order again on Wednesday, and it feeds me Wednesday, Thursday. I eat it again for lunch on Friday. But it's the same places. They know my order. When I call, I don't have to say, hey, this is what I want. All I have to say now, and this is my favorite thing to do, hey, this is Q. And they know what I want. When I go to the bank, I don't have to give a driver's license. I call before I go, hey, this is Q. They know what I want, because when I get a check to this day, my company has never direct deposited one commission check into my bank account. I take every single check to the bank personally, and I talk to those people. I go to the bank every single day. Why? Because it starts to build relationships. Folks in the bank who don't even work there, they recognize me and they know me. Man, you was just here yesterday. And if they come enough, they'll know I come every single day, regardless if I have to make a deposit or not. I go to the bank just to get a receipt.
Wow.
To print out a receipt.
Well,
just to see in the bank.
Yeah. Well, you've got that outgoing personality that I could see that would be very beneficial, because it also goes up for how many people you're meeting and how many business cards you're giving out, and toes to toes, nose to nose.
Yep.
Doing it.
100%.
What about you, Brian? Do you
I like to go in the bank and meet people, because they're like, they've seen my signs with my face on my sign. Q has a truck that he uses in Tennessee, so everyone knows Q in Tennessee. And so when I go in the bank, someone might say, Brian, you're the realtor. My friend's looking for such and such. So it's good to be in front of people all the time, rather than go through the car line. Yep. I want to go inside, meet people, hand them my card. They'll tell you if they got a friend looking, because when you're advertising yourself a lot, or you're on signs, or you have a truck with your face on a sign, they already know what you do for a living. So they kind of help you, lead you to the next deal.
Very good. And when you're making your phone calls, who are you calling? Like, you're making your 50 calls and Q's 200 calls?
I'm calling what's called warm calls. Q's probably doing cold calls. So I'm calling people I've actually talked to or met at an open house or met at Publix or met at the bank. I think Q's calling people that are thinking of, he's trying to get a new listing or a new buyer.
Yeah.
Am I
Yes.
right?
Yeah. So I do a lot of my calls are cold calls, but I also, like I said in my office, every single showing that I have, I pick up the phone and I call the agent after. If an appraiser goes to one of my properties, I pick up the phone, I call the appraiser before he gets there, after he gets there, and a couple days later to see if he's turned in a report, if he needs anything comp wise. So, I'm always on my phone because I feel like, to me, I have the voice of Beyonce. People like to hear me talk. And take advantage of my confidence in that. Now, that might not be true, but it's true to me. And until they tell me to stop calling, I always call. And, I'm always funny. I'm joking. Agents here, they tell me all the time they love working with me because I will never, ever make a deal hard. I'm not that type of agent. I'm the agent. We're going to laugh. We're going to joke. We're going to have fun. If you need me to go and do a video tour for your buyer because you can't, you call me. I'll do that type stuff. But that's what allows me then when I have a buyer and I pick up the phone on your listing and I say, hey, what is this going to take to get this thing done? They tell me every time.
Wow.
Right.
Establish that relationship, that positive relationship. That's awesome.
Ask you a question, Jennifer.
What?
Q, do you go to all your closings and
I don't go to any closings.
you don't go to the closings?
I don't go to any closings. No.
Okay. You don't get clients gifts or anything?
No. The gift is my service. I give them VIP service. I give them a lot within the transaction. I give them more than what they can ever ask for when it comes to their house being marketed the right way, sold, also given keys at the closing. Those are the things that I'm giving. And I feel like, when we go, this narrative has to change because when you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you heart surgery, you don't wake up from the surgery and give them a gift. Okay,
Right.
you pay him and he goes on. When you go to the attorney, you get a divorce or whatever it is. Once that divorce is over, you don't get them a gift. You go get your teeth cleaned at the dentist. When they finish doing that, you don't give them a gift. You give the service that they've provided to you and the assurance that if they need to come back again, they can come back. And that's what I give my folks, the utmost respect, service. I talk to them daily. And that's why my office to this day still can't believe that I take every single call for showings. I don't use the showing time and all that crap. They have to call me. I then have to call my seller or text my client and say, hey, we have a showing request on this day, this time for your property. Good. I do that. So throughout the process, they hear from me 20, 30 times within a 30-day time frame. They're not going to think about a gift at closing. They're going to think about when the next phone call is coming. When it's coming.
Right.
And then you don't have to worry about and say, where's Q? What happened to him? What's he doing?
That's it.
That's awesome. What about you, Brian? Do you go to your closings?
I do. I guess I should. I always thought about I shouldn't give gifts, but I go to the closings. I think for me, I'm old school. I think that's the time where they're most relaxed and happy. And it's kind of like they put their guard down. So I'm at the closing trying to make conversation, trying to get a review, also giving them a gift. I don't know why, but I've given gifts for 35 years. Just kind of a nice thank you. But I agree with you. When I go to my dentist, I don't give my dentist a gift. My gift should be that I got on top dollar or over asking price.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, I still go to closings. I enjoy going to closings, but
don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. I want to go, but what I've told my clients is because it's days where I have 2 or 3 closings in a day, and I tell my folks on the front end, hey, I'm here throughout the entire process. That day of closing is all about you, and I don't want to go to your closing and miss another one. And the last thing I'm going to do is show up to yours and not show. I'm not that parent that's going to choose the best kid. And that's how I put it. I'm not the parent who's going to choose the best kid. So you won't see me at your closing, but I can promise you, you're going to see me at your house later on that day or tomorrow. So I'll make sure I go to the houses.
Oh, Awesome. And then Brian, what's your average price point? What's your price point?
I'd say my average price point is about 700,000. There's some agents down in my area doing $400, $500 million. My average price point is 700, which is a pretty good market where it turns over a lot. The average days on markets increased this year. The inventory's up 167% this year. So
how much inventory do you have?
What's that?
How much inventory do you have?
Currently I have 13 listings. I used to, in my heyday, the most I'd carry is 100. Normally it's 40 to 50.
Wow. So overall listings are still down.
Still down.
Yeah.
Yes.
And ours have gone up a little bit, but not very much. They've gone up like 5% since last year. And our average days on market is like 45, and then our inventory is like 1.9 months of inventory. But it's interesting. So how many homes do you sell a year, Brian, on average?
Usually about 80 homes, 80 to 100.
Wow. And do you have a team or are you independent?
I'm independent. I have 4 administrative assistants, one that's 40 hours a week, a 94-year-old man that works 9 hours a week. He's been with me 23 years.
Wow.
Amy, who works 18 hours a week, and then Becky, who kind of helps me with the open houses.
Nice. So you've got a system that's working. 80 homes a year is a lot.
It doesn't seem like a lot. In Chicago, I was doing 165 to 200 a year. So I've been a really.
You weren't 123 according to Q back then, right?
Huh?
I said, but you weren't 123 back then, right?
Q's doing 300 something.
I was teasing you about your age. And
No, she said back then when you were doing 160, you wasn't 123 years old.
Oh yeah. Let me turn up my hearing aid. I'm that old. Hi, Bernie Cobb. I see Bernie's online from Chicago.
Yeah, I love some Bernie. So then what's like a piece of advice that you would recommend? So your market then, Brian, it's still, prices are still going up.
Right. We're up 6% this year. The average price is at 575,000. Last year is 541. We're up 6.3%.
Nice.
For the median sales price. Inventory is at 3.2%, up 166%. And the median days on market went from 10 days to 31 days.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are so much better than I am when it comes, like, seriously. I'm just looking at you guys able to spit off numbers like if you was to ask me, Q, I don't have a clue. Like the percentages and how many houses are listed. I don't even know how many houses I have listed because I never ever look up, I guess, to count that stuff or pay attention. I know what's going on with the market. I know if it's taking longer than normal, but I could not spit off like, 12%, 20. I couldn't do it.
But you're a math man.
I'm a math man, but I am not the guy to go in and just pull. I'm not a stats guy. I'm a numbers person, but I'm not the market is up. Like Brian just told me, down there the market is up 6%. If you ask me that same question, I don't know. All I know is I just posted a house today that had 12 showings, and it might go into multiples. That's all I know. I don't know anything else.
Well, that's a good problem to have.
I asked someone to print this for me because I didn't know how. So I've never looked at this in my life till today. I thought I'd impress Jennifer somewhat.
And you did.
By having numbers.
You've impressed me a lot.
You want? Oh no.
I think you impressed her by showing that you don't know how to print.
It's color too.
Because he's 123.
That's it.
Oh, it's 100.
Okay, you. So then what's your advice for your buyers and sellers? Each of you. Like what do you tell your people, Q? Your listing that you got with 12 showings and potentially multiple offers.
Yep, I'm telling them right now it's the most crucial time to price your house right. We're not in 2020 or 2021 where we can price it how we want to and have folks coming in running crazy. It's more important right now to price it right than it is to price it high or price it low. If we price it right, then we will have opportunities like we have on this listing. Now, some of my sellers, they still think the grass is greener. So I always tell them, hey, we can try it your way, but in 5 days, if we have nothing, we have to do it my way. And my way sometimes is a little more strict on where it would have been if they would have just started where we wanted to start, versus if we start their way, then have to try to get to my way second. So I'm always telling them, hey, you called me here for a reason. You have to trust me. And if you don't trust me, let's try to part ways now, because I don't want to mess up a relationship that we might have. So I would rather not do the deal than it is for you not to trust me to do it. My buyers, I'm letting them know, hey, the market is starting to soften. Properties are starting to sit just a little bit longer. So maybe you can shop one or two houses before you make a decision. But you have to make a decision because the market is steadily moving. And interest rates today might not be the interest rates tomorrow. It might be higher, it might be lower. But what I do understand is if for some reason the interest rates drop, we have an opportunity to take advantage of it by refinancing. And if for some reason the interest rates shoot through the roof and go 10%, we have the best opportunity in front of us if we can lock in 5 to 6% right now. So what we have to do is, yes, let's look a little longer, one or two more houses longer, but making sure when we go and look, we're going to make a decision.
That's right. That's right. I 100% agree. That's what we're seeing too. What about you, Brian? What's the advice you're giving your buyers and sellers?
So my sellers, I'm telling, like you said, price it right. We're not in multi-offers situations right now where we're seeing like a year ago, 10 offers for one listing. It's taking longer to sell it. So if you price it right, it will sell. You're not going to probably see 2 or 3 offers unless it's a lower price point. So the key is to price it right. And with the buyers, the key for me is if it's not a cash deal, to have a great mortgage lender. My guy can get an approval within 7 days, clear to close, not contingent on things. And that helps in a competitive market to beat out a cash buyer sometimes. So if I'm offering $10,000 more with a mortgage than a cash buyer and my guy can get it done in 7 days, they'll usually say, let's take the chance on Brian's, it's $10,000 more. Yeah. So mortgages can beat out cash if you have the right person.
That's exactly the right agent, right? Absolutely. That understands the industry and knows how to position you as the buyer or the seller to get you the most, to get you a win.
Right.
Absolutely. And then what's a piece of advice that you would give agents? Because I hear stories about a lot of agents struggling right now, and the market shifted again. It's kind of pivoted a lot in the past 2 years. So what's the advice that you give the agents?
The advice I give them is just keep doing what you did in the past. I mean, now maybe work a little harder. If like Q just told me about a program, you can make 300 calls. That's 300 more opportunities, 250 more than I'm making. So keep grinding. I mean, don't give up. Don't get discouraged. I talked to a guy down here yesterday. We ran into each other outside church, and he does 300 million a year. I said, how's your year going? He said, Brian, I just lost 3, 5 minutes before they were supposed to go through. They canceled the deal. But he's like, you just keep going. Like today I lost one. I was telling Jennifer, I lost one 10 minutes before we met for 2.2 million. But now I'm working on one for 3.4. So you just keep going. I mean, you can't think about you can't let the losses eat you up. You just keep going after it, and I think with the sports background, if Q dropped a pass, you got to catch the next one and score the winning touchdown for Ole Miss. And I got to get the hit get the game winning hit. You just keep going. Yeah. Each day is I always say when I go through the doors, each day is a new day. Forget what I did yesterday. Forget what I'm doing tomorrow. Today is what counts. Because today will lead to results down the road if you work hard.
I agree. And I think agents, or at least a lot of people I've spoken with, they'll kind of get in their own head. And like with losing the $2 million person that you had. And it's easy, I think, to start beating yourself up over that. And I think that's an excellent piece of advice. Just get up and keep going. Today's a new day. Make it happen.
Yep.
Well,
and go ahead. I'm going to say, I have a saying that I say nowadays, and it just goes a little something like this. The market will go up. The market will go down. You just have to stay around. If you stay around and you continue to work and you haven't just as the smallest bits of success, it's going to change again in your favor. You just have to make sure that you're here to see that change. So let's stay focused and don't get discouraged. The market will go up. It will go down. You just have to stay around.
I love it.
Love
it.
Yep.
Clever Q. Make a rhyme.
Can I say something, Jennifer, that Q taught me?
Yeah, I would love that.
So I've been in the business 35 years. I got lucky enough to sit at a table with Q, knew nothing about him. We became good friends. But what he taught me is mindset again. What's great about meeting Q, it reiterates, just keep going. Like he has his 4-point system. He has bags groceries for people, takes them to the car. He has his cheesecake functions. I mean, he's teaching an old dog new tricks. So you guys are saying, well, I'm 129. Some days I feel like it, but what's Q is doing for me is saying, yeah, every time I pick up the phone, I'm psyched to go back and hit the phones after I hang up with Q. Like Q is grinding. Q reminds me of the book I'm reading now, David Goggins. You Can't Hurt Me. It's amazing, the mindset. It's all about mindset. You know, if you think you can do 30 deals, a deal a day, do it. I told Q, I think you can do Diamond when he was near Titan. And he said, okay, I'm going to do it. And then he calls me in like July. He's at Diamond. He said, I'm going for Pinnacle. And he blew right through it. So he didn't limit his mindset. Yeah. He said, I can do it.
That's right.
Yep.
And I think that is pretty amazing with Q too. And our last time that I got to be with Q, I did make my team watch it because I thought it was so inspirational. And it was interesting how many people on my team saying, I can't do it. And I'm like, oh, he couldn't either if he told himself that nonstop. You know?
Right. And here's what folks got to realize about me. I'm one of 17 kids. Parents never made more than 40 grand a year. So, of course, you can never tell a kid like me anything negative because I've seen it. I've seen negative. I've seen people come and struggle, and I don't want to go back to that. So I'm running a race trying to get so far ahead of how I grew up and what I had to endure that there's no wall that I won't run through, that I can't run through to get to where I want to get. And if there's a way, if I understand that in my marketplace, I do know this number, that 4,000 transactions happen in my marketplace in a year. And if I want 10% of it, I know for a fact that I can go out there and create enough traction to close 10% of the business in my marketplace. Why? Because I'm no longer starting over from nothing. I'm starting over with a plan and something that I can really say works for me and it can work for other agents. But also it just starts with me saying it. If I say it or somebody challenge me and I accept their challenge, by God, look out. And there's no turning back. I think your agents, what they need to do is get somebody to truly look them in their eyes and challenge them.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to step up to the plate and meet it, get rid of it.
Yeah, agree.
So that's my mentality. If I can't step up to the plate, Rematch needs to get rid of me. If I can't continue to get better and do things, awesome things, get rid of me. I don't want to be gone. I like this. I like a Zoom and being a special guest. I love to do a living room and I don't have to sell myself because they saw my truck on Goodman. I love that stuff. Yeah. I'm not going to stop.
Well, good. I'm glad. And how are your sales going this year, Q?
Me? My sales are all the way down on purpose because I have some very special things going on right now that I can't talk about. But it's bigger than real estate right now for me. I have this one opportunity to do this. And if I do it right, look out.
Yeah. And you will, of course you will.
I'm focused on this other little journey that I have an opportunity to be a part of.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Well, I can't wait to see it unfold. When will you know more?
I know it all right now.
Well,
When you guys can know more is probably sometime in January. I can't talk about it even more. So you won't hear from Q for a very, very long time because I won't even be on Earth. I'm going to like Mars. I'm going to Jupiter, somewhere. But it's going to be very, very fun. And I can't wait until I can share what it is that I'm doing with everyone.
Oh, yay. Well, I can't wait for that too. That's super exciting. Brian, are you on the cusp? Do you know? Are you in the know?
In the know?
Yeah, for Q?
What you're doing? I've been sworn to secrecy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're sharing with other people.
I do not.
And Q, you just got back from Belize? Where did you just go?
I just got back from Brazil, and I have to head back to Brazil again in about 7 days. So, yep, I'm doing a world tour before I actually leave for my endeavor. So I'm seeing the world, speaking at different offices, different conferences, and my goal is to take this thing global. So
that's exciting. Well, I need to get you into our Wilmington office to come visit us.
Let's do it. I'm free. Let's do it.
I would love it. I'll get on your calendar, figure out when that is.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time. I know that y'all are busy, and I really appreciate both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Y'all call me.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.